The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Okay, welcome everyone to the 2020 San Diego Chapter PGA Summer Meeting. My name is Ross Marcano. As a lot of you probably know, I'm your San Diego Chapter President. And let me just say that I'm honored and humbled to be serving you in that capacity. I've been a member of this chapter for 25 years. I did have one stint as the president back in 2015. Nevertheless, here I am, not only your president, but I will also be your moderator for the day on kind of a historic type of meeting. I'm a little more accustomed to seeing your bright and shiny faces early in the morning, but with everything that's going on in the world, here we are, and at least we have this forum to get together and discuss anything that you want to discuss. And on that issue, while I'm on that subject of discussing, if you do have a question, notice that there's a chat box. I believe it's described as on the bottom right of your panel, the right side of your screen. There should be a chat box, so please use that. If you have any questions, you can start typing them in now. Nikki Gatch is going to help us when we get to the end of our program. During open forum, we'll go ahead and field anyone's questions, so please use that, and let's make this interactive as possible. Also, you did phone in today. You're going to need to send Jeff Johnson an email at jjohnson@pgahq.com, or you can send it to Nikki Gatch. Just let him know that you attended the meeting by phone, okay? So once again, welcome. This is your summer meeting. Unfortunately, this is the first time I've had a chance to see or at least talk to you. Our March meeting having been canceled. That was a crazy time where on that Thursday, we ended up canceling when, you know, the first round of the Tour Championship was canceled. We canceled our summer meeting, just bad timing. So here we are, glad to be here, and please use that chat box. Thank you for taking time out of your day to join us. I think you'll find the presentation to be informative. We've got a lineup of some great speakers for you. We've also got a video presentation of a well-deserved junior golf award that the San Diego chapter is very honored to be delivering each and every year, called the Giovanni Villani Award, Sportsmanship Award. So you'll see a video on it. And of course, you're going to have a couple of the board members. They want to talk to you and just cover a couple things that they're doing. You can imagine with all that's going on, you know, we haven't had a chance to really do a lot up until this point, but fortunately, we're able to play a little golf now. A lot of you are back in your offices, so are we. And so I asked the board to, you know, there may not have been any, we may not have been doing much to this point, but we're going to try and give you an overview on what our plans are for 2020. So once again, use that chat box. I do want to make public a thank you to the section for their outstanding leadership. Tom Addis, Jeff Johnson, Nikki Gatch, all the staff there at the section office. They've been working tirelessly for us, the professionals. They do a wonderful job. Leadership really shows in times of crisis, and we saw that. Hopefully, you all have had a chance to listen in on the chats that were offered Mondays and Fridays. I believe they're just on Fridays now, but oh my gosh, how informative was that? Great speakers on those, from lawyers, Craig Kessler, who's on with us today, keeping us informed of the issues with the government. And fortunately, you know, Governor Newsom allowed us to be part of his phase one, and it minimized the impact to golf being at least a recreation. And on that note, you know, let's continue to be good stewards, good responsible golf operators of our operation, following the health inspectors, the county health inspectors guidelines. Let's continue to do that to show that golf can operate, or is, as Craig Kessler, I think, puts it, golf is amenable to be provided as a recreation at the very least. And of course, we are a business as well, but at the very least, a recreation. That's how we were able to be included in that first phase. Governor Newsom's, letting us get some fresh air. And now more than ever, with everything that's happened over the weekend, we all need that fresh air to clear our minds, don't we? So thank you to the section for their leadership. As a chapter, we sent out some emails. David Nesbitt, he's our communications person on the board, does a wonderful job sending out the emails, posting on Instagram, posting on Facebook. So hopefully you all got those notices to basically go on the section website for any and all information as it pertained to this pandemic. So with that, I think I covered all my housekeeping items here. If we can have our secretary, Jeff Munak, he wants to go over the minutes from our last meeting, the annual meeting of 2019 that was held at El Camino Country Club. We did send out an email this morning, and in it was the minutes from that meeting. Again, that's the 2019 annual meeting. Jeff, why don't you take it away?
Thank you, Mr. President, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. And thank you very much for being a part of this this fun GoTo webinar. Like Ross said in his introduction, on your right-hand side, you'll see the control panel. On that, you'll see a tab for questions. So for the approval of minutes, if I could get a first and a second under the approval of minutes, if the questions, go ahead and type your name, just so we can go ahead and approve the minutes that were sent to you today and yesterday, actually. Boy, and thank you all for your lovely comments in the questions. I've got a first and I've got a second. We are all set. The minutes have been approved. Thank you, Mr. Noakes. Thank you, Mr. Hicks, for your approval.
Okay, thanks, Jeff. Moving forward here, I mentioned that there's a junior golf award that we give out each and every year to a deserving individual. And I'm going to have our junior golf chairwoman, Heidi Richardson, come on and kind of set up the video that you guys did, you being Heidi and Holly, of the presentation to this deserving junior. So Heidi, please take it away.
All right, great. Thanks, Ross. And hello to everyone. It's so great to be connecting again with all of our local San Diego professionals and with our great leaders from the Southern California section and the other organizations that have been incredibly supportive. And hopefully everybody's used the time that we've had at home for rest and also to take the time to study and learn and grow a little bit to get prepared for this incredible new phase that I really see is going to be a huge opportunity. Just this morning, my phone and my emails have been blasting with parents just so excited to get their kids back to golf. So despite the difficulty, I think we're going to end up having an incredible swell in the game of golf that just has offered the community some joy and happiness and relief and recreation to recover and rehabilitate from this difficult time. And I had the pleasure and really the honor to present this award. And junior golf is a huge part of my life and my passion. And I spend lots of time just smiling, watching the cutest kids swinging golf clubs and the parents just smiling and so happy to get more kids playing the game. And I can't tell you again how many parents are anxious to get their kids out to the golf course. They are so excited. Kids who have been playing other sports, I've had parents saying, you know, my kid mentioned golf. Now they know they can't play soccer and they can't wait to get to the golf course. So I think this is going to end up being great. And this is just one really special award that we are able to look around our local area, and hopefully in all the coming seasons with awards that can be nominated, everybody will look at your own courses and communities and find these special kids, because they're the future of the game. And there's so much incredible just experience that these kids gain through our game. And again, I can't explain my passion more about how I love to teach kids how to play golf, but I love to teach them the values of this game and how it applies to their entire life. And that's kind of where the Giovanni Villani Award focuses on sportsmanship, really. Of course, it's great to see a successful kid who plays well and, you know, competes and wins and uses the sport athletically for those kind of accomplishments. But it's really our passion to utilize the game to just grow the next community of kids and young adults, and the sportsmanship and the qualities that come from the game of golf. So I had the pleasure, he's the sweetest kid, the sweetest fun family, the Villani, sorry, not the Villani family, but the Nacional family have several kids, and the family, the parents, the aunts, the uncles, the grandparents, they're really active family here in North County in the Oceanside area. And Andre is the sweetest kid, and he does hang out mostly in Oceanside and at Emerald Isle with Holly, my dear friend, Holly and John, and has had lessons up there. I've got some of his great coaches have a moment to say something here, and I had the pleasure of going up and interviewing him, asking him questions. How was he introduced to the game of golf? You know, what golf has meant to him, and you know, the challenges and the hard work that he put into it. And now as a young adult, how he's been able to become a role model for younger juniors, for his own younger siblings. And this is just, I was almost in tears asking him the questions. So enjoy this great video. I'm kind of an amateur videographer, so hopefully it looks pretty good. And hopefully it'll give you a smile today just to see this sweet young man, his family, and all of us that are so proud of him to be the winner of the award. Holly Kennedy nominated him, and we love to work together, Holly and I, and this is really special. So enjoy the video, and hopefully in this next week, and I think everybody's starting to get back out teaching and starting to plan summer programs, you know, within the guidelines that we are given through the section and national and all of the safety guidelines. We can get junior golf going again this summer and just get another great group of kids going. Like I said, parents are anxious to get them out to the golf course. So I'm wishing you all luck too in all of your facilities to get your junior programs going again. It's a little tricky with the groups and the camps, but we've got the support from the Southern Cal section and everywhere to help us get the programs going in the right way so we can get more kids back to the game and have another great winner in the future seasons of the same Giovanni Villani Award. So I could ramble forever, but here's the video. Enjoy the video. I send my best wishes to all of you, and I can't wait to get together in person. So take care. Here's a great video I put together.
All right, wonderful. Good job, Heidi, getting the video produced. That was wonderful. We sure got a good feel of what a nice young man Andre is. And I look forward to meeting him sometime in the future. Great kid, so well done. Now I'm going to kick it over to the section office where they're going to talk to us about all the latest updates. So take it away, section. Tom Addis.
Yeah, thanks, Ross. And hello, everyone. It's really good to be here and with you all. Have a nice group out there. And it's kind of fun doing these online or virtual, whatever you'd like to call them, get-togethers and meetings. So we're going to take a little bit of time, not a lot of time, and give you an update, keep you updated on what's going on within the section and other programs, and not to take away anything from Craig Kessler's presentation in a few minutes, but myself, Nikki Gass, Jeff Johnson, we'll split some time here. Congratulations to Andre and Ross. Thank you for your nice comments. And a lot going on, as you know, getting back to business, as well as getting back to golf. And as was said earlier, and Craig will probably say it a number of times, golf, we're lucky that golf was brought on early as outdoor recreation, and that is a nice way to be reintroduced to the game as a viable outdoor recreation. We've talked about that for years, and it's nice that we're considered in that vein, especially to get our sport and our activity up and going. We continue to work on various things dealing with COVID-19 and the reintroduction of the game and the sport in California, and in particular Southern California. As you all know, just this past week, golf instruction was put back on the approved activity list, and we're very fortunate that. And I'd like to take this moment right now to thank a couple of San Diego PGA professionals who really were integral in a couple of these reintroductions, and that would be Paul Devine, Brian Smock, Clint Whitehill, and Holly Kennedy for really working hard to communicate with various San Diego county supervisors, as well as the health officer and as well as the chief administrative officer for San Diego. There's still a little bit of work to do and some clarification that we have to go through in regards to being a little more specific on group instruction, as well as rental equipment and things like that. So, and we continue to do that, and we continue to work every day for those clarifications. All 10 of the counties in Southern California now have approved golf as an outdoor activity. Ventura County just recently approved golf cars. They were one of the first counties to open, and the last county, or one of the last counties, to approve golf car usage. So things are moving along in that regard. You've seen guidelines come out, and we'd like to ensure that you take a look at these guidelines, in particular the Back to Golf guidelines that the organizations in golf throughout the country work diligently to produce and provide, working with the CDC and the CDC checking and ensuring that the guidelines were not approved by them, but at least reviewed by the CDC, and that's been extremely beneficial also. You may have seen, or you will see, another email come out, another link come out within the Back to Golf guidelines, and that has to do with key event considerations. So when California and other agencies around the country are given the opportunity to provide group activities, which may include dining and weddings and various other functions, these event considerations are in the guidelines now, and something to review regularly. They're in the playbook under Back to Golf, so I would encourage you to take a look at those and be very, very aware of how those are applied. The section has worked diligently on guidelines as they pertain to tournaments. Our first event is June 22nd, our Pro Scramble at Monarch Beach. We have a set of guidelines that's been produced, and maybe you've seen for that event specifically. Those guidelines will be broadened as time goes on and events continue to appear and be utilized on the schedule. So take a look at that. Our Junior Golf Tour, both all three, our JDT Junior Development Tour, our Players Tour, and our Toyota Tour Cup have developed guidelines as well that are they're pretty detailed. They're quite detailed, as they should be, in ensuring that we're fulfilling our responsibility for safety. And you'll see those, and I would recommend you take a look at those as well. They're kind of a consolidation of everything, whether it be through Back to Golf, the SCGA and the SCPGA you probably saw consolidated together, collaborated on a Play Safe campaign that has some specifics. One of the first times in history that the SCGA and the SCPGA have collaborated on something like this together in regards to the game of golf, the sport of golf, and of course a recreational activity. So I encourage you to take a look at all these guidelines, be aware of them. There's different means to approach the guidelines. For example, when you look at on the putting green and hole liners and what you do with hole liners, or what type of insert that you use in order to keep the golf ball from going to the bottom of the hole or even touching the flag stick. So there's many resources out there that you have excuse me, available to you. And speaking of resources, I would encourage you to go to scpga.com under our COVID-19 links, and the resources that are in there, not only the guidelines that are available, but some of the supplies that you may need in order to reintroduce golf and to do your business safely and provide the recreation that we so love safely and in a healthy manner to your customers and your staff, of course. So utilize that, take advantage of that where you can. And one thing, and you'll probably hear Craig make a couple of comments in this regard, that a lot of what we do is based on perception and optics. And there's been a number of occasions, or a couple of occasions anyway, in Southern California, starting out where we were very concerned about how golf would be taken when we first opened, whether it was in Riverside County or Orange County, and some of the optics that were out there, at least the perceptions by the agencies that here we go, golf is open, nobody's paying attention to guidelines, here we have an elitist sport, an elitist activity, and we don't like it. And so we have to be very careful and very aware that as we continue to go forward with the game of golf and the reintroduction, that we're very conscious of what it looks like out on the golf course, whether it's safe distancing, face coverings, how we handle golf instruction. That's very important, because it could be taken away in a heartbeat. And I'll give you a good example. As a matter of fact, I was up in Big Bear this weekend, and the Big Bear newspaper, not a very large newspaper as you might expect, but on the very front page, there was a picture of 3 golfers on a putting green at Bear Valley Golf Course. And the headline for that photograph, it was, a typical kind of a column in a newspaper. Golf opens in Big Bear Valley, some distance, others not. Well, that's not the kind of headline that we'd like to see when it comes to golf and the reintroduction of golf. We would rather see, of course, hey, golf is back in Big Bear Valley, and look how well they're doing. Look how far apart these players are. It so happened that two of the golfers were on the putting green, standing next to each other, and the third was attempting to hold the putt. So the lack of social distancing was evident. But those are the kinds of headlines and comments that we really don't need. So we all have to take a responsibility that we're watching for that, and we're helping our customers, we're helping our members, we're helping our guests do the right thing on the golf course and in and around the clubhouse and within our golf instruction. So thank you for that, and let's all work together and provide that good picture and those great optics that we need. Real quickly, because Craig again might handle this, is the legislation regarding independent contractors, AB 5, and now there's a new number, AB Assembly Bill 1850, authored by Lorena Gonzalez, a legislator from San Diego County. I think you're all aware of. We are moving forward. We've obviously had a slowdown based on COVID-19. We were making very, very good progress. We're still well positioned going forward. Craig Kessler, California Alliance for Golf, and many of us are advocating almost every day. Our lobbyist, Tony Rice in Sacramento. So those of you who are involved in the independent contractor conversation, still have some patience. It's still very positive, and we're moving in the right direction. Just a couple more things. As I mentioned, June 22nd is our first event. It's full. We have 88 players, 44 teams in the Pro Scramble, which was the event we had scheduled for our June meeting at Tamarisk, but Nick will cover that in a few minutes. June 29th is our rescheduled senior junior at Valencia, and then our match play actually started today with the finals scheduled at the Crosby in the San Diego chapter the end of July. So keep up to date on our calendar. For one thing, everything is very fluid. Our calendar is very fluid based on the golf course openings and what's available with golf courses, whether it be golf cars, practice range, whatever it might be. So make sure you stay in tune in that regard and check our schedule on scpga.com for any updates. A couple more things. One more thing. Our California Nevada PGA chat that was mentioned earlier. Right now, we are on a week-to-week basis. Our numbers of attendees on those chats still well exceed 100, which is really, really nice, and we appreciate that. And as long as we have an audience, as long as there's an interest, as long as there's some information that will help everyone, we're going to continue with those chats at 10 o'clock on Friday. Craig is a big part of that and has spent every chat with us, along with John Easterbrook and Jeff Price from the PGA and others who have really taken their time, valuable time, to be with us on those chats. So again, appreciate being here. If you all have any questions, as I mentioned, Nikki and Jeff are coming up with a few comments of their own. And or if you would like to email us or call us, that's great. You all have our emails, and you can get our mobile numbers at the same time. So we're here to help. We're here to answer questions, and we appreciate how hard all of you have worked and stuck to it in regards to reintroducing golf. And we appreciate what everyone has done. We appreciate what the San Diego County Board of Supervisors have done, and the staff of San Diego County at the same time, as well as the city. So we'll keep pushing away and look forward to everything becoming even better for all of us. So again, Ross, thank you. And at this time, I'll introduce Mrs. Nikki Gatch, the Assistant Executive Director and Chief Operating Officer for the section. Nick?
Thanks, Tom, and thanks, Ross, and thanks the board. Thank you to the board for having us today. I wish we could see everybody in person, but hopefully sooner rather than later with that. You know, we're starting from a staff standpoint, we're starting our 12th week of working remotely. It's kind of hard to believe, but I do want to take this opportunity to thank our entire team. Everyone has really stepped up and adapted to our new way of doing business, and I hope you would agree that no one's missed a beat. And the number of educational opportunities that we've been able to provide to our membership has been outstanding. For several weeks there, we had an opportunity every single day of the week which was fantastic. That's starting to slow down a bit, but that's good news. That means everybody's back to work and getting back to their normal routines. All of our webinars and chats have been archived, so they are available to you to find on the website or on our SCPGA YouTube channel. So encourage you to do so if you did miss some. We are starting our repopulation, if you will, back to the office. As you know, our headquarters is in Ontario. We have a team of 20 people, including our junior tour team. And we're sort of taking a phased approach, just like everything else. The office has been completely sanitized before our return. We have every safety precaution in line. And so we'll be adding a phased approach as to how many people can be in the office at one time, still allowing some remote work as needed and as necessary to make everyone comfortable and continue to do our jobs for you. Tom mentioned the guidelines, the Back to Golf guidelines. You saw the video for our tournament guidelines that Max produced. It was in the member to member over the weekend. You should be seeing shortly, hopefully this week, another video for instruction guidelines and best practices as we begin to do more teaching and coaching, both on an individual and then eventually getting back to groups. So I'd like to thank Randy Chang, our teaching chairman, and Josh Alpert for helping us put that together, as well as our Teacher of the Year, Tasha Bolig. So be on the lookout for that. Again, that will be on our website as well. PGA.coach, for those of you who have not done the ADM certification, I highly encourage you to do so. It'll take a couple hours of your time. It is free. It's a wonderful opportunity, especially if you're doing any instruction or coaching. It will help just make you a better instructor. Once you complete the certification, a couple things. You'll then have access to an app, which is really well done, allows you to communicate with your students. It gives suggestions on lesson plans based on the age and skill level of your student, and really helps you do some nice student evaluations and assessments. In addition to that, PGA.com, our consumer-facing website, is going through a revamp with the focus being on our coaches and on our PGA members. So anyone who has completed the PGA.coach certification will now be eligible to create their own coach profile, which will be on PGA.com. So encourage you to do that. It's a great benefit to promote yourself, promote your brand, and grow your business. So if you haven't become certified, I know we've got about 150 people in our members and associates in our section that have been certified, but we'd really love to see that number go up and not have you miss out on this great opportunity. It will be promoted to the public starting later this summer, so now's the time to get certified and create your profile, with a heavy push in early August during our championship up at Harding Park. So you'll see a lot of promotion on the national telecast there. So don't miss out on that opportunity. If you have any questions or need any help navigating that, please don't hesitate to reach out. And one final thing, Tom did mention our summer meeting. That'll be next Monday on the 8th. It'll be at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So encourage you to register online on Blue Golf. It will be in this same exact format. And we look forward to seeing all of you then. And again, thanks for all that you guys do every day. And don't forget that we're here to support you in any way that we can. So please don't hesitate to reach out. And with that, I'll pass it over to Jeff.
Thank you, Nikki, and everything you said and Tom said. And Ross, thank you very much, and the directors very much for the opportunity to be with you. I'm sure Grant and Jeff might address this. I am not certain, but your chapter is in fine financial condition, not only your general account, but your tournament account, as usual. Our section has 1,335 members currently and 280 associates. I'm going to give you just a couple of brief statistics about our membership. 94% of our members and associates are men, and 6% are women. And in San Diego, you currently have 284 PGA members and 81 associates. And one of the notes, and I'm hoping that there are a number of associates on the call today, is that the levels for 1, 2, and 3 for the PGM program have been extended for 1 additional year. And testing sites are opening up again. I know there's been a little bit of frustration from time to time finding a place to go and do the pre-qual tests and successfully get out of level 1 and into level 2. But we understand that this week we'll have some new information on all of the sites that are reopening. As Nikki had mentioned, out of this membership, we've got a little over 150 coaches that are certified, which is really encouraging. And in addition to that, 160 junior league captains, which is unprecedented and continues to grow year over year. MSR as well has been extended for an additional year through June of 2022. So anyone that's a little anxious or perhaps stressed about their MSR status, you have an additional year to complete that. And if you need anything at all, I believe there was a question from Tom Sun about MSR regarding the ability for mentors to meet and counsel. And yes, those would be MSR hour appropriate. And I simply need to know where and who you were with, and I'll make sure that those credits are awarded. The dues have also been extended, as you may know, until October 31, which was a bold move and a smart move on the PGA of America's part. And we're happy about that. Las Vegas, I'm not sure if it was mentioned previously, but Reed Expositions has canceled the show in Las Vegas this year. Many of us took advantage of the wonderful educational opportunities and MSR hours that were afforded there. And with the cancellation, the PGA of America is going to be posting online a collage, if you will, of past educational opportunities, seminars, and speakers. And all of that will be available free of charge to gather even more hours for your membership service requirement. And then on a final note, Special Awards has been extended, the section Special Awards program, from June the 5th as a deadline for nominations to June the 12th. And as always, we would encourage everyone to participate in recognizing someone who's done some wonderful things. And then finally, if Matthew from the Bridges is on the phone, happy birthday. And that's it for me. Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff. And thanks for everything, both you and Nikki. And then Bryce in the background, our producer for this webinar. So thanks to you all. And thanks again for allowing us to sit in on your meetings. Ross, appreciate it very, very much. And the best to everyone. Thank you.
All right. Thanks everyone there at the section office. Always good to hear from you, get an update. As I said in my opening comments, you all work tirelessly for the professional, and I know for myself, I certainly appreciate it, and I know everyone in our chapter does as well. Before I kick it over to Ken, just wondering if our section president, Tony Latendre. Tony, are you there?
I am still here, sir.
Maybe now's a good time. Just want to say hello to everybody. How's it going?
Hello, San Diego chapter. I hope everybody's doing well, and thanks for the opportunity to join you today. And Ross, thanks for reaching out a month ago or a couple months ago and asking me to attend this meeting. It's certainly my pleasure to do so, and I wish I could be with you all in person, but it's nice to be able to at least do this. And I think I just want to echo a lot of the things that people have already said. I want to say congratulations to Ross and your board for everything that you guys have done in keeping your members up to speed and everything that's going on within our section. And I know a lot of you have been on the California chats and working very diligently with San Diego officials to bring teaching back recently and all those great things for us. And I think we all are the benefactor of that. So thank you very much to everybody down there. It's not going to be long before we get back to normal, but as Ross stated and as Tom stated, we're very fortunate that golf is part of this first wave and this first reintroduction back into normal society, I'll call it. But we are being deemed as a recreational activity. And I think it's very important that we remember that as much as we know we're a sport and we are a business, the fact that our government leaders are viewing us as a recreational activity has given us the opportunity to come back. And I think that's very important that we remember that and keep that terminology in your back pocket. But the team at the section office, I got to commend them, Tom, Nikki, Jeff, the whole team there. They've done such a great job of keeping everybody informed, whether it be with the California and Nevada chats, keeping everybody involved with their assistants, with the coaches chat and things like that are going on in our section. We're very fortunate to have such a dedicated team of individuals that are working so tirelessly for us. So publicly, I want to thank them, and I hope they know how much they are appreciated by all of us. The summer meeting is coming up next week. The board of directors will meet in the morning. We have a couple things to discuss. Specifically, it's time to elect a new secretary, and we will make that decision so that person can be seated and shadow for the next 6 months, and take their seat in December at the annual meeting, which is hopefully going to happen here at Dove, if we're allowed to have a meeting and a gathering. We might have to do it virtually, but then we'll also be selecting a District 11 director. It's our turn to have somebody who represents us on the national board and represents our district, Southern California, Northern California, and the Aloha sections. So a lot of business to take care of that morning, and then hopefully you'll all join us that afternoon for the summer meeting that would have taken place, as Tom said, at Tamarisk in the desert. Instead, we'll do this virtual call, and we'll report to you everything that's going on. So we hope that you'll join us that day. Mark your calendar. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I had. I don't think I do. I think Tom and Nikki and Jeff covered everything from the office standpoint. So I don't know if there's any questions for me, or if anybody wants to share some ideas. You can certainly reach me. You all have my phone number, my email address. You can reach me at the club. Happy to share everything that we're doing here, how we're maintaining our open status, so to speak, and anything I can do to help. But would entertain any questions, Ross, if you have any. But again, thanks for letting me be part of the meeting and spend some time with y'all, even though it's virtually. And it's nice to theoretically see all your faces. It looks like there's 78 people on the call. So that's really good, Ross. Thank you.
You bet, and thank you, Mr. President. And just a reminder, I'm glad you brought up the questions. There's a chat box in the bottom right, and at the open forum at the end of the program, we'll be trying to answer all those. And if there are some for Tony, maybe you'll be on the call and be able to help out answering. If not, we'll make sure and get back in touch with you.
I'll be here till the end, so thanks for having me.
All right, thank you, Tony. So with that, let's go to our next presenter, our employment consultant, Ken Farrell. Ken, take it away.
Thank you, Ross. That was a really long time to have a very bad picture of me up there. And but with all the things that were said so far, it really only kind of leaves me with two things to share that I'd like to let all of our members and associates know. You've received specific emails from me regarding these two, but I want to follow up with our job board. As you know, we are eliminating the Career Links program, which is the program that sent you positions, management positions, directly via email. And the reason we're eliminating that is there's always been a call to be able to see all jobs that are posted throughout the country. And by having members and employers post all jobs on the job board now, which is on pga.org, you will be able to do that. There still will be a matching component of that. As you know, Career Links matched up your profile to jobs and then sent them to you. You still be able to be matched up, which will save jobs into your pj.org account when you log in. So we're asking everybody to go to pj.org, log in, click on job preferences, and then just complete those 5 quick questions. And once you do that, by logging out, it actually saves the information from those questions. There is not a save or submit button after you answer the questions. So keep that in mind. And then again, any job that matches your 5 questions, they will be shown underneath your account. But keep in mind that you can go to the job board and you will also see those jobs specifically on the job board under whatever section it is that you desire to review. by clicking on the sections on the left-hand side. So all it does is it saves specific ones that match those 5 profile questions you answered into your account. So that's one thing. The second thing would be lifelong learning. We've had 110 people in our section, in the Southern California section, that have taken advantage of the lifelong learning specialization program since it was announced that the program is available to you at no cost till June 30th. So we still have a little bit of time to be able to do that. And it gives you 30 days after June 30th to complete it as well. Keep in mind one thing, that specialization leads to certification. Certification leads to the master's program. Of course, there are terms now to be able to be certified, 5 years for that and then 10 years for masters, as well as some other criteria. So Ross, with that, I just want the San Diego chapter members and associates to know I'm always available to them to discuss any of the issues that surround us today. And I'm happy to help in any way I can. So please reach out to me. My email is kferrell@pgahq.com. And keep in mind one thing, that this does not preclude you from reaching out to any career consultant. There's 20 across the country, and their emails are always their first initial, last name @pgahq.com as well. So thank you, Ross. If there's any questions, I'll try and answer them. If not, thank you for the time.
Okay, Ken, I do have a quick question for you on the continued learning program. I don't think I phrased it right. You said you have until June 30, so the end of this month, to complete it, correct? So it doesn't matter if you started it, you have to complete it to not be charged. Does that sound right?
You have up till June 30th to sign up and to be able to access the program at no cost.
So you sign up on, let's say, June 28th, and then you may not complete it in a month past that. You're good. There's still no charge.
Correct, but then you have an additional 30 days to complete that program. Correct.
Okay, thanks, Ken. Appreciate your time. And with that, let's kick it over to Mr. Craig Kessler from the SCGA, Director of Government Affairs. Craig, take it away, please.
All right. Well, Ross, thank you for inviting me to this San Diego chapter meeting. I thought maybe many of you would be sick of hearing from me. I've been on all of the NorCal, SoCal, Nevada chapter chats and statewide chats on this subject. As I was watching the video and listening to young Mr. Nacional, I thought of him, it could be said that he's a young man of few words and many talents, and maybe I'm an old man of many words and few talents, and if I partnered with him, we might be the complete package. But with that, let me try to give you a few insights and fill in a few blanks that Tom Addis left unfilled, which wasn't too many blanks that he left in his presentation about, and it echoed much of what I'm going to suggest, so I don't want to repeat. First of all, there is a 2020 California legislative session. It's very different from any previous legislative session. It has been greatly abbreviated by COVID-19, and even in its abbreviated form right now, it's pretty cumbersome. It's very difficult for even lobbyists to walk around the Capitol. What they do best often is just stop into offices and talk to longtime staffers, talk to members of staffs that both staffers on the bureaucratic side and in the actual political side. So we haven't been able to benefit from any of that. As Tom suggested, and many of you know, that the golf industry 90 days ago was laser focused on taking what we have begun to identify as a healthy measure of relief under AB 5 last year, not quite complete, and we were going to perfect it this year, and we were pretty optimistic about doing that. Then we became very pessimistic about doing it because the state moved from a $20 billion rainy day fund to what is now looking like maybe as much as a $54 billion deficit for the remainder of this year and all of the next fiscal year. The legislative analyst calls it $18 to $31 billion deficit. However you slice it, it's a huge deficit. And suddenly the legislature is faced in a compressed period of time between now and June 15th, excuse me, with coming up with a preliminary budget to balance it. Unlike the federal government, which can print money in order to solve problems, state and local governments have to balance budgets. So at that level, both the statewide level and it's going to go down to the county and city levels, there's going to be an awful lot of pain. And to those of you on this call who are particularly connected to the municipal sector, which is government golf, know that even though you may be on a management agreement, a lease agreement, or you might be an enterprise fund system, there's no way escaping when you're part of systems that are otherwise squeezed for cash. There will be a price to pay for that. It will come in different forms depending upon the system, but it will be a price nonetheless. And I'll come back to that a little bit later. We still do, we're somewhat encouraged that in this session, there have been a number of reforms written into what's now AB 1850. Almost all of them that have been written in thus far, though the negotiations for them were largely completed before COVID-19. So it was just a matter of waiting for the legislature to come back to finalize them. And it deals mostly with the entertainment industry, freelance writing, the artistic community, and those were compromises effectuated all across the board, business groups, and in particular, in that case, labor groups. And Assemblywoman Gonzalez's office was very much aboard and in tune with them. The one unexpected wrinkle to the amendments to AB 5, and it's a very encouraging one for the golf industry, both specifically for now, for some of you, and probably a harbinger of things we could look forward to in the future. But it amounts to creating a very special exemption for what's called youth coaches, in particular in nonprofit programs. In other words, non-governmental employee programs. And I know there are some of you on this call. Earlier we heard how you're looking forward to getting back into junior golf clinics, and all those activities. Well, the degree to which you use coaches or part-time coaches, full-time or part-time, it would seem to be that if your business model in the past had been largely dependent on the use of independent contractors, that has received perfect protection now going forward in the original AB 5, which is now numbered AB 1850. It's also encouraging in another vein towards maybe resurrecting an idea in California about changing some of the laws that we would need to change here to do youth caddy programs. There's a certain niche of the golf industry that is amenable to that particular activity. In terms of the rest of whatever legislative agenda we may have had in 2020, other than AB 5 and other than trying to survive what is going to be a pretty dismal year and probably a dismal couple of years in the state in terms of budgeting, there's not much particular on our plate. We canceled our Capitol Day. We canceled our visits. Being able to get access even to committee hearings is next to impossible this year. It's just a once in a century happening, and it's something that we're learning to live with and will continue to live with. I just wanted to share that with you because as we get back to what I wouldn't call normal order, but would be a new normal order perhaps, life goes on, whether it's legislation, regulation, or other things. But before we get into the subject of how life might go on, a couple of details to fill in about golf's responses to COVID-19. It has been extremely difficult in the state of California. I've talked to colleagues in other states, which in one respect, I think for long term, it's not a good feature, but they had the advantage of dealing with, on a solitary basis, with a governor's office that generally controlled all of the rules that were dictated in a state. There were some exceptions for a couple large states in the country, but not to the degree to which California has been a complete mishmash. From the very beginning of COVID-19, Governor Newsom determined to handle this in a very federated fashion, with the state setting minimum standards and allowing the counties, which are the arbiters of public health and the deliverers of it in California, allowing the counties to adopt rules as long as they match the minimum standards set by the state, which were not particularly onerous. They were encouraged to exceed them to the degree to which they felt that local need, circumstance merited it. And this is a state that has one county with 10.2 million persons and another county in the Northeast with less than 9,000 persons. Clearly, that's not an apples to apples comparison. But that has caused a lot of, in Southern California's 10 counties, it's caused confusion to say the least. But that's been a healthy thing, not an unhealthy thing. It might have made life difficult for people like Tom Addis or Nikki Gatch or Craig Kessler or Seth Waugh and the rest of us. But it made, I think, it made it possible for golf to do two things. From the very beginning and from day one, and we did do that differently from other recreational activities. I know I've been contacted, particularly at San Diego County, by tennis and some other interests, wanting to know what it was what magic did golf have, or what was it that we knew that they perhaps didn't. And what it turned out to be was we had an understanding that from day one, we needed a theory of our case. And Tony Latendra and others mentioned what that theory is, that we are a substantial component of what's called golf. Yes, there's a component that's business, and there's a component that's social, but there's a third component, and it might be the largest component of the game, which is completely recreational. So that the theory of our case was, even from day one, golf was, and I'm going to use that word, obviously I use it too much, was amenable to the very strict social distancing and common touch point controls that suffused all the other regulations of all the other activities. And we won that at the dawn of COVID-19. We lost it. We didn't lose the argument for a period of weeks. What we lost were the policymakers who were in a panic that California cities might look like New York City in being unable literally to handle the dead bodies piling up in hospital morgues. And so with that, everything had to be shut down to indicate to the general population that this was dead serious for a period of time, at least until such time as we had dampened the pandemic curve sufficiently to ensure that the public health system wouldn't be overtaxed by critically ill patients, both those critically ill with COVID-19 and with all the other maladies that didn't get the memo to take a holiday because we were in the throes of an international pandemic. So developing a theory of that case and sustaining it from day one just meant that we were many weeks ahead of the others when that day did arrive. Now we were ahead when that day arrived at different times in different counties because of different circumstances, and quite honestly, because of different profiles of the golf communities. So as Tom Addis mentioned, yes, I believe Ventura County was the first in Southern California on about April 20th to go back online, but the last to bring back golf cars, go figure. San Diego was not the last. That honor went to Los Angeles County, but San Diego was among the last. And if you notice an inverse relationship between the timing and population, you picked up on what was the theme. Larger populations pose more difficulties in reintroductions of everything, including golf, and thus were slow and had more cases, more actual reported cases, and far more deaths, and thus were loath to move too quickly at risk of reigniting the pandemic curve. So we're back aboard in 10 counties. I'm going to focus a little bit on San Diego County because in a sea of 10 counties of which confusion has been the central organizing principle, one of the great ironies is the least confusion has actually been in the largest county. And that is in part because the golf community worked very carefully there, very closely from day one with the rather substantial municipal golf community in that county, which we always understood was going to take the lead because the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors, for political reasons, is very warm towards its municipal sector. And let me just say, not so warm towards the private club sector. In addition, there's a long tradition of those municipal systems working together. And then, of course, the county Parks and Recreation Department itself, which owns the largest municipal golf system in the United States. I know I argue much with New York. The state of New York claims theirs is slightly larger. I dispute it. I think County of Los Angeles is slightly larger. So they are partners or a brother department with County Public Health, and they have a constant dialogue in the sense that both the Parks Department and specifically the members of its golf operations division meet regularly with County Public Health and have been discussing these things from day one. So that system's been a little bit more orderly and a little easier to understand, albeit more conservative or more restrictive than some of the others. Now, getting back to San Diego County, we spent a long time, and I want to thank Tom for highlighting Paul Devine and others who really spent some time in the clutches, really spent some time down in the trenches with members of the board, the staff, board of supervisors, and with the public health officers. And we all owe them you all owe them a great debt of gratitude for the work that they did. But it took us a great deal of time to actually get San Diego County to take the same language for private instruction and the same rules that Los Angeles County used. And then just as we won that, I think we won it politically rather than bureaucratically, it seems to me right now that of the actual rules or application, golf lessons have been removed entirely. Because of that, you can make a strong argument that anything you do which otherwise conforms to all of the other golf orders and all of the other generic, both state and local orders on social distancing and common touch control might be amenable to sets of lessons that are more than private instruction. And again, I phrased it ambiguously that way because literally, and this can be tough for a lot of persons to understand, with all of this, we are in the land of incredible ambiguity. Keep in mind that nobody involved in any of this has ever been through a pandemic of this degree, or at least some of the other sort of mini pandemics we've dealt with have managed to, maybe public health officials have been involved, but they never involved a complete shutdown, literally, of the economy like this. So everybody is flying blind, from Gavin Newsom on down to local members of city councils, to golf management companies, to golf professionals, to GMs, to everyone who works in any industry and any activity. So we're learning on the fly. I will say I think the golf industry has been exemplary in being able to handle that on the fly. And again, as I pointed out to some of those San Diego recreational activities that wondered what it was that golf knew that they didn't know, all it was what I just explained. The recognition that you start on day one and the understanding that nobody knows what they're doing. And if you let that stop you, you were going to fall many, many weeks behind. So I think the golf industry can take great pride in the fact that we had a theory of the case from day one. We sustained that case, we won that case, and we executed that case. In most places, but not all, golf was either literally the first thing reintroduced or the second thing reintroduced. And that included Los Angeles County, where golf was introduced before general parks, before hiking trails, and well before beaches. And I think that's testimony to something that Tony said in his presentation, that we sold this case on the purely recreational aspects of the game, and we're going to continue to sustain that as we move forward in the COVID-19 universe, if we continue to remember that and understand that it's my belief that within the next 30 days, we're going to see a lot of things that are maybe still restricted on golf courses, permitted per rules and regulations as everything else has been permitted thus far. I think we're already begun to see openings for in-house dining, for retail, and a good rule of thumb is whereas very specific rules were required for the recreational component of golf, because recreational golf is unique. There's no other activity like it. It needed its own special rules, particularly being first out of the box. But when it comes to golf retail, when it comes to dining, food and beverage, when it comes to those private clubs that may have spas, gyms, various other things, pools, keeping in mind that those things are duplicated many, many times over, in some cases, many thousands of times over in other sectors, and simply follow the generic rules and apply them into the golf context, and you'll always be on solid ground. Because we've already reached a point, and San Diego is a great example, where the permissions seem to come before the actual amendments to the golf order. And that has caused a great deal of confusion as well. Many of you may remember that suddenly an okay came out from the chair of the Board of Supervisors in San Diego. Private golf instruction is now permitted, but I think it was at least 5 or 6 days before the technical health order was amended to permit the same thing. And I know when I've received emails or calls or inquiries from GMs or from golf clubs, I've always wanted to send them along the actual order which sanctions precisely what they're going to do. It puts everyone on solid ground. And it's an odd position to be in, to explain to someone, well, the Board of Supervisors says you can do it, but the health order contradicts it. And then you get into all kinds of questions of how much risk persons want to take or clubs want to take with these kinds of things. I guess bottom line there is, if you've been confused throughout all of this, congratulations, that means you've been paying attention. If you think you understand everything, maybe shame on you, because you really don't understand what's happened here, which has been a maximal test in everyone's ability to deal with total chaos and ambiguity. But as some order is beginning to come out of that chaos, let's not forget that unless this particular coronavirus behaves differently from every other one that epidemiologists have discerned out of human history, there will be a second wave. How severe it will be is anybody's guess, including epidemiologists, certainly golfers. But we know there will be a second wave. And consequently, even though things are rapidly opening up, and even though cases are coming down, this has not gone away. There is no herd immunity, and there is no vaccine. And if you listen carefully to the expert, there's no guarantee of a vaccine, whether it's later this year or 5 years from now. Although there's a great deal of hope, because all the best minds in this country in medicine are now been deployed to look for one. So that's encouraging, but we'll get it when we get it, and that'll bring us back to some stability. So moving forward, keep in mind, golf has figured out a few things about its intrinsic value and activity that we've discovered right now is highly appealing. It's an outdoor activity. For a period of time, there are a lot of other activities that golf always competed with and will someday compete with again. But there's an interregnum here in which golf is not competing with as many things, and that is an opportunity to build up the game. I'm being told there are persons coming to it who had gone away from it. They're coming back because of things that may have distracted them from golf are no longer available. So that opportunity is there, and I'm hopeful that golf's organizations and institutions are up to taking advantage of that opportunity and not just wallowing in what is going to continue to be some of the clear problems. And the biggest problem is going to be this: not so much golf industry specific, but the fact of the matter is that the entire marketplace out there is going to be depressed for a period of time by the recession we've entered into. I was asked for my authority on this, and something I put out through the SCGA, so I'll predicate my remark by citing the following authorities. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell, backed up by the White House Council of Economic Advisors, is predicting that unemployment will top out this summer somewhere between 20 and 25%, keeping in mind that both of those parties have a powerful incentive in downplaying that number for political reasons than in upplaying that number. So that's a pretty conservative estimate. California's Chief Legislative Analyst's Office, which is nonpartisan, not partisan, it's not under the control of the Assembly the Senate or a Governor Newsom or anyone. It's just a set of policy wonks with PhDs in economics and related fields who issue analyses of legislation and make certain predictions as best they can on the trajectory of the economy. And they're talking in terms of the optimistic view would be a U-shaped recovery, not V, and the pessimistic would be L. And I think I know what an L looks like. I think you're kind of at the bottom, you're bottom feeding for a long period of time. So the market of golfers we're appealing to, we may have less competition for their attentions, and they may have discovered just how much they love the game for a period of time when they weren't allowed to play it. But having said that, en masse, the market is going to be depressed, and there are going to be persons, whether it's businesses that have less disposable income to spend on our game, and our game is a leisure activity dependent upon disposable income. And perhaps a little bit worse than that, and the most disturbing thing is that just because things are opening up, if you look at some of the results of states on other parts of the country that have opened up quickly, as many of you know, if you watch CNN or Fox or any of the news outlets, Georgia got even criticized by the White House for opening up too many things too quickly. And yet the experience has been that the Georgians haven't flooded back to shopping malls. They haven't flooded back to restaurants, even though they don't have the same kinds of restrictions we do. And that's because persons have been they're still operating in some fear. And they're operating also on the fact that it occurs to them that their financial positions aren't as good as they were 90 days ago. And when things begin to turn downward, people begin to turn inward, and they begin to close down their wallets, and they begin to think about replenishing 401ks and things like that. So it's both there are opportunities there that I think are specific to golf moving forward. There are some dangers. We know what those are. If we continue to focus on the recreational aspect and play by the rules that have been set up, we will be just fine. And that's an easy task. What we don't have control over is the general state of the economy. All we can do is make the best of whatever that situation is. I do think, this is just an opinion, and I think it's an opinion echoed by many, even on this particular call, that there are some silver linings, particular in golf, that other sectors, industries, activities aren't really going to be able to see in the next year to 2 years. So my hope is that we grab those things and run with them as fast as we can, not being unmindful of some of the problems we're going to be facing, but we can't. But most of those problems are beyond our capacity to control. What's within our capacity to control is what we do. And if the last 90 days are prologue, we, in terms of those of you on this call at the GM level, have performed, and at the professional level, the facilities level, and have performed, I think, in an exemplary fashion. What remains to be seen, and again, this is just my personal perspective, is whether all of our organizations at the national level can draw us together to not relax just because we were the first back aboard and we're doing better than everyone else, but understand that we're moving into an entirely different territory. And if you take a close look at the world around you, not only are we going through an unprecedented, self-induced coma in the economy, no one knows how that's going to turn out. But in terms of right now, America's cities are virtually, I don't know, 28 cities, major cities have curfews today. And we have certain, COVID-19 has put focus on some long-term inequities, as those who have been disproportionately impacted by the self-induced coma are perhaps the same group that are disproportionately impacted by some other things. And as we begin to see some divisions open up, or fissures that have been opened up by a pandemic and a self-induced economic coma, that kind of instability, and that's the word I would put to it, makes people frightened and makes it, although who knows, maybe it wants to give them a respite on a golf course. What better place during an unstable time than to be on a golf course? But nonetheless, with each passing day or moment, we're again flying very blind. And if there's any best practice to come out of this, it's that in times like this, understand there will be radical change. Nimbleness is what's called for. Don't worry if you're confused, and get used to ambiguity and confusion, because that's going to be the state of things, I think, for some time to come. And even though I said I was just going to sort of fill in the gaps that Tom left, I hope I didn't repeat any of the things that others said on the call. And with that, Ross, again, let me thank you. I thought everyone was getting a little tired of listening to me, but I'll turn back the floor. And if there are any questions and there's any time left to answer them, I'll be happy to do that.
Great. Thank you, Craig. Always good having you. Keep us updated on what's happening in our political world that we are tied to, especially now with the shutdown and coming back. We're fortunate to have you to help us navigate and be one of those first sports that are able to come back. And remember, the key word is recreation. That's why I mentioned in the opening comments, be good stewards, good responsible at our clubs, running our clubs and so forth, following the county's health order. So thank you again, Craig. Craig Kessler from the SCGA, Director of Government Affairs. Okay, moving on. Board of Director reports. First up will be our Associate Chair, Tom Sun. Take it away, Tom.
Hi, thank you, Mr. President. My name is Tom Sun, the chairperson for Associates for the San Diego chapter. For those who don't know me, I think I've been honored to be in this position since December. I think it's for me to be a member since last September. I could relate to the associates' issues related to the program and becoming a PGA member. So I want to update a few things. I sent an email a few weeks ago, but I just want to reiterate those points real quickly for you. Number one, virtual seminars are being conducted every week. The schedule is set. The virtual seminars are scheduled set for 30 days in advance. Registration could take place 72 hours before the virtual seminar starts, depending on space availability. So for example, you could sign up the Friday before the Monday to start the virtual seminar. Currently, the PGA headquarters is sending out emails to everyone who is eligible for the seminar in all career tracks. And June seminar schedule is posted online at pga.org. So if you have any questions relating to the schedule for virtual seminars, please go to pga.org to look up the schedule for June. The best thing about the virtual seminar, not only is it convenient for you to do it at home or at work, but it saves you $12.50 for the seminar, because the cost of the virtual seminar is only $7.50. So for those in the program associates, please do your best to continue with your seminar program. The second thing is PSI centers, testing centers. My understanding is that they're opening up every day, and please go to their website and find out when the tests are available for those who have completed level 1, level 2, level 3 programs. Thirdly is virtual testing. My understanding is that the latest update is that basically the vendor is almost complete with the whole virtual testing process. The only thing is that remains to be solved is the collection of the fees for the test. But this virtual testing is almost complete. And as soon as I find out more details in the weeks upcoming, I will let everyone know, all the associates know. And the last point I'd like to discuss, to me, is the most important, is the mentorship program. As Jeff mentioned on this call, there are 81 associates within the chapter, and we have 284 members within the San Diego chapter. It's basically more than 3-to-1 ratio from member to associate. So I would love to, me being a associate just recently as last year, love to have a mentorship program where a volunteer associate is assigned to a volunteer member where they meet once a month. And hopefully this mentorship program will allow and help assist associates get through the PGA program and allow them to become PGA members sooner than later. So a detailed email will be sent out later in the week. And I would love to hear volunteers for both the mentors and the mentees, the members and associates. We would like to have a kickoff event when it's allowed at Arrowwood and have a mentor, a mentee tournament and then have them get together all together at Arrowwood. And that way we could start that off with the relationship being formed there, and hopefully it continues monthly. And as Jeff mentioned before, there will be MSR credits given to the mentors for volunteering their time. That's it for me. If any questions, please email me at tson@arrowwoodgolf.com. Again, it's tson@arrowwood.com. I'll be in touch again over email, and hopefully, have a lot of members and associates sign up for the mentorship program. I think it'll be a valuable tool for associates to continue in their path to become a PGA member. Over to you, Mr. President. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Tom. And I just want to thank Tom for his service. He's only been on the board for just a few months here since December, and he really has taken the bull by the horn, so to speak, with being of service to the associates. Behind the scenes, he has helped a number of associates with questions, and Tom's been kind of the conduit between those associates with legitimate questions and the national office, not just the section, but Tom, he likes to go straight to the top and get an answer, and hopefully what we'll find, and he's got a great idea with the mentorship program, so I certainly will be there to help out with that, Tom. But getting these answers for these associates, I think one associate needed to get his information graded in a timely fashion so he wouldn't have to retake a particular level, because I believe the program has been updated, so now there's a newer program, and he helped save that associate not only time but money. And there's been numerous other examples of where Tom has been there to answer questions. Remember associates, or even members out there that are mentors already to associates. Tom Sun at tsun@arrowwood.com. If you have questions, you can send them to me, because like every board I've been on, we're there for the associates. We want to do the best job possible, and we've got a great person at running that committee at the moment. So thank you, Tom. With that, let's move on to the virtual education update. Michael Major from Torrey Pines is our education chairman. Wasn't able to be with us, I don't think. But Heidi, were you going to talk a little bit about this slide right here? Heidi Richardson?
Hi, yeah. Hi. So many great presentations today. Thank you. I think Mike is on the call. He and I were talking and texting earlier today. And so he does have a summary of other events and information to share with the membership. And my sort of summary right here, the virtual education update, is possibly a little bit outdated. I put that together the end of last week. So everything basically that I wanted to share has already been greatly covered by Tom at the section, and Nikki, and all of our other great leaders. That some of those weekly seminars and chats that are listed there, some are still happening, some have been adjusted, and so bottom line is, if you just keep in touch with our section website and the SCGA and the PGA National website, that's where you'll find everything that you need. And then all of our great leaders that have been on today also, they have their doors open, calls and emails and everything. So anything you need, you can find on the website and with any of our leaders. And again, some of those weekly chats and catalysts may not be completely accurate that you're looking at right now. So the updates are all happening weekly, and you can find them all on our website and contacting our great leaders. And again, Mike, I think, is on the call. So if you have anything to add, he did put together another really good summary. But thank you.
Okay, thanks, Heidi. So with that, we'll move on to the tournament co-chairman, which is Alan Shear and Blake Dodson, but representing that committee today will be Blake Dodson. There you are. So take it away for us, Blake.
Thank you, President Marcano. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We hope you and your family are safe and healthy during these turbulent times. I get to be the one that is very excited about showing the upcoming schedule for the PGA Tour. Of course, we have the Charles Schwab Challenge with June 11th through the 14th, PGA Championship August 6th through the 9th, and then the best September in golf we will ever see in our lifetime, Tour Championship September 4th through the 7th, US Open 17th through the 20th, Ryder Cup 25th through the 27th, and then the Masters in November 12th through the 15th. So we are very excited about that coming back to fruition. And we're going to move into the upcoming events for our chapter. Next slide, please. And the chapter is proud to announce the resumption of the 2020 tournament schedule. First up, chapter match play tournament. We are tentatively looking at first round matches being completed by June, second round by July, third and fourth rounds in August. The final four will be held at Del Mar Country Club in September. We understand that courses are extremely busy with professionals putting in tremendous amount of time at work. There has been discussion amongst the board members, possibly adding more time allowed to complete these matches based on the number of signups. So be on the lookout. Actually, it was open today that the match play is open in Bluetooth, or excuse me, Blue Golf. So go ahead and sign up for that, and that will be open through June 14th. Furthermore, the SD Four-Ball Championship has been confirmed. It's being held July 6th at Mount Woodson Golf Club. Emails regarding that will be coming forth in the near future as well. And then I have an update regarding the remainder of the 2020 tournament calendar. The schedule is very fluid, as it is throughout the Southwest. We are currently checking on all events for July and August. San Diego Country Club Pro Member has been postponed for July, but we are looking to reschedule that event for a later date. Senior Stroke Play is on the schedule for July 19th at Verona Creek Golf Club, and that is still moving forward at this time. And in August, the TaylorMade Pro-Am at Shadow Ridge Golf Club is questionable at this time. On a different note, in regards to tournament play, on Saturday, the SCPGA sent out a member-to-member email. In that email, Max Despain, the director of tournaments, explained the new guidelines for the resumption of tournament play. This can be found by hitting the link in the email or by visiting scpga.com website and click on the COVID-19 link. There you will find a list of exact guidelines, recommendations, and protocols for tournament play. It takes less than 10 minutes to watch this video, folks, but it's really important. And please note, it is your responsibility to follow the safety precautions and protocols regarding tournament play. Remember, let's stay safe and let's stay responsible. That's the end of my report. El Presidente, back to you, Mr. Marcano.
Okay, thank you, Blake, and appreciate the updates. You and Alan are doing a nice job trying to give us some events to play in. I know it's not easy, but we sure appreciate your efforts. So With that, let's take it over to our secretary, Mr. Jeff Munak. Take it away, Jeff.
Thank you, Ross. Also, thank you, Blake, very much for the work that you and Alan are doing on our tournament schedule. As you said, I've been in that position before and understand that we will reschedule these events as we are proud of our events here in San Diego. We'll continue to put on good events. So as things start opening, look forward to that. As far as special awards are concerned, to the members of the chapter, as Mr. Johnson said, you've seen the extension from the section level. You will start to see communication from our level. As we are able to get out and about and start to move to other facilities, as things start opening and as other facilities are allowing PGA professionals to come back out, please keep special awards in mind. Think about your merchandisers in the private public resort facilities. Think about your assistant golf professionals. Think about your head golf professionals. Think about your vendors and or retailers. Just think about anyone that would be deserving. So with that in mind, just look forward to communication via email coming forward from our chapter, and then also the nomination forms. With that being said, we will also be asking for people to be on the special award committee, where we will go over the award winners and then go over all the applications as well. So all that communication will be coming forward. As far as that, and from your secretary, I just wish you all be safe, happy, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you guys in person soon. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Secretary Munak. Always an important time of year to nominate, just to be sure. So now's the time. Be looking for those emails. Thanks again, Jeff. We have this slide here for you just to acknowledge our sponsors. You know, we can't thank them enough. This year is going to be an especially tough year for sponsor dollars. Jeff Johnson mentioned that our accounts are are doing well, but we won't have, just to forewarn you, we won't have quite as much to work with this year. But we continue to do our best to you know, talk to these sponsors, come up with different ways to make it worth it for them. And this is just a list that accompanies each email we send, just to give them to get them out there in front of everyone. If you have a chance to do some business with them, and obviously they're going to appreciate that, and it just makes the chapter look good. So with that, I don't know if we have any questions, but this is our open forum, everyone. We're getting down to the end of our program, open forum. Nikki, how are we looking on questions at the moment?
Ross, we just had one come in from Rod Linville,
Okay.
specifically for Blake or Tony. Did the section tournament committee have a meeting in May? And if so, was compensation for PGA rules officials working section events discussed?
Right. You guys might be able to answer that. I know what Rod's talking about. So if anyone was on that tournament committee call, maybe that's something you might be able to answer.
I can tell you, Ross, and Tom or someone else may want to chime in as well. It was discussed, but to my knowledge, no decision was made, but it was discussed at the committee level.
Right. Okay, that's good. And I don't know, maybe we can just let Rod know in an email that it continues to be under consideration. Sounds like he might appreciate that anyway. So he knows either way, I guess, right? So sounds like it's still being discussed, Rod. Anything else come your way, Nikki?
Just a nice comment from Holly Kennedy. Just wanted to say great job on the webinar meeting. It's a lot of work and coordinating, and we appreciate your time and commitment.
Yeah, thanks, Holly. Sure appreciate it. And yeah, the board, the last couple of weeks, we've been trying to figure this thing out, and fortunately, my computer wasn't as temperamental as it can be, and we were able to make this work. So we're happy to be here. We wanted to get in front of you. We thought it was important, considering we haven't met yet this year, and we're just starting our 6th month of 2020. Pretty crazy. So Sounds
And
like.
Ross, just one
Go
more
ahead.
update from
Okay.
Max Despain. I didn't know he was on the call, but he did confirm that the tournament committee did vote to not compensate rules officials at this time.
Okay. And I wonder if down the road, so if Rod wants it to be brought up again, I mean, I don't know what the protocol is there, but.
I think he should
sounds
just
like-
submit something to Chairman Jim Gormley.
There we go. Okay. Thanks, Nikki. All right. That's going to conclude our meeting here. First time ever that the San Diego chapter has done this. And as I mentioned, I felt it was important that it be done, get in front of you, and let you know that I am your president for this year and 2021. I just want to mention some people that you didn't see today that are on the call. You have your vice president is Grant Strobel. He's out of the Miramar Golf Club. You did hear from Jeff Munak. He's our secretary. So those are your officers. And then the honorary past president is Bill Gorey. So we will be seeing him at our next gathering, our next meeting, which hopefully on the schedule, it is for the Crosby, I believe in November. So Bill Gorey is your honorary past president. Alan Shear is your co-chairman with Blake Dodson on tournaments. And we heard from Tom's son, Michael Jones, out of Torrey Pines, Balboa, basically the city of San Diego. Michael Jones is doing some work on sponsorship. And as I mentioned, that's going to be a tough topic this year, but he's got some ideas that we've been discussing. So we look forward to sharing it with everyone once we have things a little more formalized. So Michael Jones is your sponsorship chair. I mentioned it earlier, but Michael Major is your education chair. He's been serving in that capacity for a couple of years, probably a little, maybe 3 or 4, but he's always done a good job on putting things together. And I should mention Sean Cox. He's not on the board necessarily, but we're always in contact with Sean. He's very accommodating at the Grand to help us out with not only the Partners Pro-Am, which helps raise money, but with education seminars. So there's my chance to publicly thank one of our fellow professionals, Sean Cox, who does a lot of work with Michael Major, and be looking for some education seminars coming up in the fall, I have a feeling. So David Nesbitt works behind the scenes as well, especially getting ready for this meeting, being on the internet, and he is our communications guy. So he kind of got us together and sent out invites, and thank you, David Nesbitt. We call him Nezzy. He's now out of Bernardo Heights, and he does a wonderful job. And so I appreciate that. And I think that's it for my thank yous. And then again, thanks to all of you. Be safe, stay well, and just remember that right now we're probably in the phase 2 now, but we still need to remember that golf is a recreation. It's a kind of a theme that's been echoed throughout this meeting, so that we look good to the health inspector for the county, and golf can continue to be open. And let's pray, let's cross our fingers that if there is a second wave, let's not shut things down. Let's be a little more sensible, right? So I think that's it. And with that, meeting adjourned. Have a great day, everyone.
Thanks, Ross.
Thank you, Ross. Thank you, everyone.
All right. So
Well
everyone's
done,
off.
Mr. President. Thank you.
All right. You're welcome. And good job, everyone, as well. We got it done. I had confidence. Obviously, Bryce was a big part of it, too. And, fortunately, it's not his first rodeo, and we could see that now. So good job, Bryce, too.
Bryce, I might have to sport some headphones like that for the section summer meeting. So could you look into that?
I'm on
Let's
it.
make it easy.
I'm on it, Mr. President. Don't you worry.
Thanks, Tony.
Hey, some
I
of you
think that
guys
was
get
good.
on your videos. Get on your videos so we can all see each other and say goodbye.
We can only can we do more than 6 on the videos?
All right, get out of here, run.
We can take turns. So there's my howdy do.
Okay.
All right, Tony, good to see you.
Same here.
Thanks,
Is he with
Tony.
Dave? He said he's on the T-Box already.
There,
Roscoe, way to crush it, buddy. Proud of you, pal.
Yeah,
That was awesome.
thanks, buddy.
yeah.
Well
think it was
done.
awesome.
Well done, guys. Well done.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks, Tom. All right. So I'll be sending out an email soon, but.
Good job there, dude. That was amazing.
Jazzy, are you standing upright or is sun upside down?
Sun's upside down.
I gotta go. I gotta teach. I'm on deck. Bye.
Jackie's playing golf at Arrowhead right now.
You're killing me, Dodson.
Woo, Michael.
Mike Jones, thanks, buddy, for being on the call. I didn't think it would take this long. I can't believe, but then you hear Tom Addis and Craig Kessler talk, and then you're
All
like,
right,
buckle up, huh?
Great job, guys. See y'all.
So,
Take care.
okay, see you, Jeff.
Bye.
Bye, sweetie.
I'm not
Bye.
hanging up. I want to see everybody.
Hey, Blake.
Bye, everybody.
Great job, Ross.
Yeah, thank you. And
Good
thanks,
job, Ross.
everyone.
You're awesome.
Way to be patient, everyone. And we got through it. So, time for
I know, Blake Dodson, man, you look different. What is wrong with that?
All right, thanks, everybody. Have a
I look forward to
great
seeing you
day. Be
guys.
safe.
I'll be in touch. Okay.
Bye.
With that, we'll say.
Bye.